Hello, Scanna. Welcome. My name is Jody Harbour, and I'm a co founder of Grandmother's Voice. And it's an honor to be here with each of you in this moment. And for those of you who will be joining us later, gathered in ceremony, lifted by the heartbeat of Mother Earth, and held in the sacred presence of our ancestors. Each week on Mondays, we will gather in the circle with grandmothers and grandfathers from across the 7 continents, elders whose lives are rooted in sacred knowledge, ancestral memory, and a deep commitment to healing truth and spirit. Their voices carry the wisdom we need in these times, wisdom born not of theory, but of lived experiences, of ceremony, of connection to land and spirit. This is not just a series, it's a remembering, a weaving of story and spirit that calls us back to who we are and to who we are becoming. Now's the time. Now's the time to gather, to listen, to honor the voices of the elders who have carried these teachings through generations. Tonight, we're honored to welcome the people you see here in this beautiful circle square. Welcome this evening.
Hi, everyone. As many of you know, I'm Grandmother Susan, and I'm really grateful beyond measure to be able to be part of all this. And as you know, we have 52 weeks, and this is number 3. So we've got plenty more to go. And it's going to be really exciting because as our world is hurtling through space, our elders, our grandmothers, our grandfathers are holding that space around it so that we can be protected as we do this. And not just be protected, but make a difference, because that's the important part. You know, there's so many of us that would love to be in the thick of things, but we can't for whatever reasons. But does that mean we're helpless? No, absolutely not. And I remember when I first started this walk, I found out about the elders going down into the kiva up at Hopi every morning to pray for the world. And I thought that was so powerful. I never realized that there could be that much influence. And there is. And here we are. We're part of this now. We're experiencing it for ourselves. So with that, tonight, we're going to open with someone that I don't know yet, but I just heard a couple words out of his mouth, and I knew that we're going to have something really beautiful because he has that kind of voice that permeates. And so I'm going to introduce him. His name is Nico Whitebear. He is Mohawk. He lives in Buffalo, New York right now because he is connected to the University of Buffalo. He environmental geosciences graduate with a focus on botany, ornithology, entomology, and indigenous studies. He's a speaker, a writer, and a wildlife photographer. And I have absolutely no idea what he's going to do tonight. So I'm going to sit here and just soak it up. So with that, Nico, we turn the feather to you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Grandmother Susan, and to everyone here for having me. It truly is an honor, and I am very grateful to be here with you all. So I was kind of brought into this circle and sphere through the teachings of Rolling Thunder and Mad Bear. I came into contact with their books, and since then I have done some audiobook readings of their books, and through that came into more people like Ted Silverhand and Michael Bastine, and all of you are wonderful people. So my kind of life focus and goal is to continue learning and share these teachings with everybody else and connect with as many as I can. So I'm going to open the circle for us this evening with just a little bit of smudging. I see that some of you also doing the same thing, so feel free to join in if you're able. And I'm going to ask that we just take a couple minutes of silence, kind of bring ourselves into the space and be together as one. Yeah, well, thank you all for joining me in that silence. And with that, it brings us together and brings us into the space. And that is all from me.
Jody, did you have something for us? There we go. Thank you.
Water and fire and an earnest desire, he asked for the wisdom of life. His hands reach out to mine, and together we'll find a place among the stars tonight. Find me, guide me, fill me with heaven's light. Protect me, enfold me, and watch me through the night. Find me, guide me, fill me with heaven's light. Protect me, enfold me, and watch me through the night. Wind in her hair and hands in the air, she called to the beings of light. As her vision unfolds, her eyes touch my soul, her spirit begins to take flight. Find me, guide me, fill me with heaven's light. Protect me, enfold me, watch me through the night. Find me, guide me, fill me with heaven's light. Protect me, enfold me, watch me through the night. As he prays to the place where healing begins, he asked for the body to be whole. Seeking truth from beyond, he sings a healing song. Through his hands he delivers to my soul. Find me, guide me, fill me with heaven's light. Protect me, enfold me, and watch me through the night. And watch me through the night.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, White Bear. And White Bear, I'm going to be putting on my pages some of those videos that you have that Max shared with me so that everybody can go on and see more about you and find out about the readings that you do. So thank you. And
That would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nyawi. And Ted, I wanted to share that song when I introduced you because of who you are and who you were, your relationship with Joanne Shenandoah, and what you have done for me in my life. And you've been a protector and a visionary and a seer, and that's what you do for everyone. And I have such gratitude for many of you that are watching. You've either been to Eagle's Nest, which is where I live, or you know about it. I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for Ted Silverhand. Just so you know, I was looking to find out where it was that Creator wanted me to go, and I had a vision, and Ted helped me to realize that vision was my home. And for those of you that have ever worked with Ted, who've ever had a reading from him, or you've ever met him and know him, you know what a tremendous gift he has. And he shares it outward for us, everyone. I mean, I just can't even believe how many people that I know who've had your readings and who have gained immeasurably from that. So, one thing too I want to share about Ted is his humility. He is such a humble person, and he's able to reach into places where people don't usually open because of that humility, because it's so easy for us to know immediately that he's there for our sake and nothing else. And for us to be able to have someone like that is phenomenal. I know that they send him, Canadian government sends him all over so that he can help the tribes and other people. And it's just such an honor to have you here tonight, Ted. And I wanted to thank you for the protector that you are for all of us. And now I'm going to take this time and turn it over to you. Mahalo nui.
Thank you. Oh, I feel so honored. Thank you so much for the good words you said. And I wasn't ready to see Joanne, and I saw her, and I have been around Joanne since she was 14 years old. And when she wanted to be like Buffy St. Marie, she said, and she wanted to be and follow in her footsteps. And indeed, she did. Much of her journey has always been in all of her music. And I hope people can download her music, because that music touched many people's hearts one way or another, and it touched me as well. And I thank you all for this, for allowing me to come and to sit among all of you, because I'm looking at the 6 people here, and they're all teachers, and each of you, and in your own way of the dealing with following your roads on this good red road. And so it's a long journey, because when people say, well, how long are you on this journey? I've been on it. When you think about it, we have all been on this journey all of our lives. Just think about it. And then many people ask about teachers, and many people call themselves teacher. Very few really are. Find a few good ones that you can study with, and don't study too long, but just study enough and then move on to the next teacher and to another. And then, like the Jesus man, he sat down someplace by the water, and he put all of his studies, his teachings in from all of the different parts of the world that he traveled. And then he sat down, he weeded out all of the different things that he didn't want. And then he threw out all the stuff that was no good. And then he himself became the teacher and spent his following 3 years teaching. So we are not saying that we are Jesus's, anything like that, but we all have traveled that road. And if you think about it again, and on that road, they are what we call 7 roads of life. The roads of fear, knowledge, enlightenment, wisdom, love, death, and transformation. And each person on this earth comes back to travel all of these roads one way or another. And on this road of fear starts in the beginning. Babies cry, they're afraid of sound, things of this, working through their areas of fear as they continue to grow in knowledge and understanding. And that is a very lonesome road through this thing we call fear. And then, of course, seeking knowledge. You have people that go from one school to another, still trying to find knowledge, to find their way, seeking this. It can take even a lifetime on this road. And sometimes some people say, well, maybe you get too much knowledge. I don't think there's ever enough. Enlightenment you will find on this road. Enlightenment, looking into knowing all the knowledge that you have and reaching enlightenment in different areas. But then we hit with wisdom. Wisdom, that's the important thing, because you got to know how to use this wisdom to understand it. That's the important thing. Knowing also, in these areas behind wisdom is love. Love of self is the hardest of all. We all have a problem with this thing of not liking this about our own selves. And some people, they got too much love for themselves. I don't think there's ever enough love of that, but not to pick and beat self up. That's the important thing, to be humble with it. That's important. Death is the beginning. This road that we all circle, like in the areas of the teepees in the village, everything is in a circle. Life starts in a circle and continues till we end up becoming very old but childlike in certain ways. Transformation, we just say that all of this, putting it together, taking your time, and just understanding what it's all about. Because, and when you sit down and look at, we are all students of life. There are no graduates here. As I your teacher, so you are mine. Be careful of the ones that say only study from me and no one else, because you could be dealing with a fool. Stay away from that one. Stay away from that one. Prayer is the most powerful thing. And when White Bear was talking about him burning the smudge, things like that, all medicine people would talk about prayer. It's as powerful as you can. In the areas of prayer and dreams, is very important. And I've yet to meet a healer or a teacher or a medicine person. And by the way, I'm not a medicine person myself. I don't have that gift. I don't have the gift, perhaps, of being a teacher. But the thing about it is, I'm a seer. And being a seer, looking into other people's things, as a teller, we will call tellers and seers. And then, and within that area, you're able to learn a few things from certain medicine people that will share their gifts. Now, the most powerful medicine people are women. They're the most powerful. And then people will say, why is it that we don't know that much about medicine women? It's because in the old days, men wrote books. They only wrote about men. That's the reasons why. But when you go into a village, most of the villages, most of the places, the most powerful are the women. And that's a fact. Oh, you had men that did certain sweats and things of that. But the ones I've always met were always most very powerful. And I've had many visions of how I was thrown from one place to another because it was the woman's eyes in the dream time, the power that she had put into to throw me from one place to another and say, don't be like the rabbit, hop here, hop there, stand on your own feet. And so again, always, as I say at the beginning, always learn to pray by just your simple words. And those words are very powerful. That be the topic of this. And when one can learn to pray, things happen. Some medicine people can part the clouds. I've seen it happen because they trust in the Creator, and the Creator moves these things. That person did not do it. The Creator did it. But so on different areas, they know how to interact with one another. I've been around for a long time. I've been doing this now for over 65, 70 years. I've seen a lot. I met a lot of important people. When I say important people, medicine people, these are the people that I call very important people, because you find some that they'll be in the shake tent and they're singing in the sweat lodges and things of this. Those are the old ones. Go and find them. Be with them, to talk with them. And they're not going to come looking for you if you are a seeker. You have to seek them out. You have to bring your tobacco. I remember one old man, a young person came to see him. I think he told me the story. And he had this big bag of tobacco. And he took it to this medicine man and he brought that tobacco there. And the man said, "You know, I don't know if I know that much." He says, "You may have to take some of this tobacco back. I don't think I could tell you what it is that you want." It's just a story of how you can try to overdo just to be able to be more humble, and who, as this is why the respect that we try to give the elders. And but then there are those that I've heard babies, not babies, but children. I know I have my son Hitna when he was a little boy, and he would say one time to just one person, "Daddy, all his puppies, all his pups ain't barking." Because, and he was about 4 or 5 years old. And I said, "What made you think that?" And he had his reasons, but they were good reasons. He was always a deep thinker. He's still always a deep thinker. So he's on that medicine path himself. Um, on this path, each of the medicine people that I have come in contact with, the teachers, they seem to always come when I was needed, that I needed. In other words, when it was always there to um, put certain thoughts into my mind, into me, and to talk to me and explain things. But they sort of like trial and error. You have to they want to see where you're coming from first. So in other words, to where just because they may say, "Oh gee, you really know a lot, you really are really smart." And I remember this uh, from a lady years ago. She was a very special person. And she was, matter of fact, she was a minister of a spiritualist church. And I remember, and I'm there talking, and I'm just there saying, "Oh, great, you're so great, Ted. You're doing this and doing that." And this older lady, she comes and she says, "You know, your brother is going to have a baby, and it's going to be this and this and that." And I was asking questions, but yet she was telling me things without even asking me. See, I pick and choose to ask certain questions to get certain answers. And so, but I said, "My gosh, how how did you know this?" She said, "Oh, you will know in time, son. You will know in time." It was always, that's how the old women would sort of say, "In time, you'll get there in time." And I thought that I was the man that knew the plan, but I didn't have the plan. They always knew the plan. And so, well, this is still a long journey. It's still a good journey. And look where you expect not to see, and you will see. It's as simple as that. Because many times it's right under your nose. But learn to stay humble. Learn to walk in beauty. That is most important. Always walk in beauty and in a very humble way. in traveling this earth, we take it one road at a time. There may be of these people that some people, as we say, may not necessarily be all that they're cracked up to be, but in their own unique way, they seem to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I think that is the thing about medicine people. I didn't call anyone a trickster. I'll just say that they can always seem to pull something out of a hat that can really blow your mind. And I remember one of my teachers, Rolling Thunder, and he was a very, very special man. And a lot of people didn't quite understand him. Come to think of it, I didn't quite understand him either. But I would see the magic that he carried with him. And I'm reminded of the time that we were on our way to California. And just as we got in the car, just before going to the car, I noticed his pipe and his pipe tobacco was sitting on the table in the kitchen. And one thing you learn not to touch those particular things, his pipe, and his tobacco. So when I left it, I walked out the door. I was the last to go out the door, I think. And when I got in the car, and we're going down the road, and just as we enter into one of the large areas of cities, he started patting himself and trying to find out where was his tobacco and his pipe. And I remember looking at it right there at the table. I said, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, you hear him puffing on a pipe and got tobacco. And I thought it was something that I was supposed to see, how he was able to bring that pipe and that tobacco that was on the table. How did he bring it in the car? Because that's the magic, parts of the magic. And so I just said, where was I? It was something for me to see. Or the time that we were still in Southern California someplace, and he had walked out on his balcony, and he says, I need to get in touch with Mad Bear. And Mad Bear was a guy that I think they both learned a little from each other, Mad Bear and Rolling Thunder. But yet, he went out, he lit his pipe, and within 20 minutes, there was a knock on the door. And not just me, a group of us was there when knock on the door, and all of a sudden, Mad Bear came in. Mad Bear, where's RT? Where's RT? And then it was like a movie that was wound up, going fast. And then all of a sudden, up the stairs, we're all watching this and go up to the balcony. And they were there for a few minutes. We were looking at this, and all of a sudden, he's down the steps outside. He was gone. Magic. But there are also people say that Mad Bear could travel without his suitcase, which means that he would be with his truck or his car, and you would find his car parked over on the res, and the car is empty. He's gone. So this is why we say he can travel without his luggage. These are little things that I witnessed myself one way or another. And others are stories that were told to me by others. And then there was Twila Nitch, and she was a grandmother. I always said she was very, very special. Her message to me was a time that I was put into one of her buildings. I'm sitting there. Well, to make a long story short, it was about 3 to 4 hours. And then it got to me. I got the message. The bumblebee had flown inside the building, flown around me, talked to me, then left. And when I came out, I said, I think I've gotten the message. And she says, it took you a long time to get that message, didn't it? I said, it sure did, but the bee told me. And that one bee seemed to have always followed, I won't say that particular bee, but the story of the bee entered into other stories along the way of hearing the bee and what the bee had to say to me. I started out with the railroad just like RT, Rolling Thunder. I was a brakeman, conductor, and this was with Penn Central and then Amtrak and Conrail. And I would work on the railroad, but yet during weekends, I would go to powwows and I would read at the powwows. Well, to a degree, but some places they didn't quite like my style of reading, so therefore they didn't want me to come to the powwows because they were afraid of me for some reason, but I didn't understand it. But in time, even the people that were afraid of me, they began to be friends with me, so that's good. So travel, as I say, I've always been a student of life. And in school, I was sort of like the man with the Shawshank movie, that I've been institutionalized all my life. I'm going from one school to another. I get it. And I'm still in school, even it's not quite the way it is now as it was way back then. I don't know if there are any questions anyone want to ask me. As I don't want to talk too much and I talk myself out of things. What is anyone here that wish to ask me a question or two that I can talk about? Well, I see it's all quiet here. And
there's some beautiful messages here that come through that just sending love and beautiful love, Ted. I'll show you these ones. So there's some messages, so I get to pop them on. And for those of you that are watching, if you do have a question for Ted, please go ahead and you can put that. Here we go. I don't have a question, but I want to thank you for your words.
Thank you. Well, that's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that. But as we always say, the grandmothers are the hub of the wheel, and around them are the spokes of this wheel, which are family, loved ones, and friends. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. It's as simple as that. And to understand, moms can take and make something out of nothing. They've always done it. And their healing areas are just as powerful. And that's the reasons why that when I talk about and the areas of the book that has been written about me is about me giving so much areas to the grandmothers and all grandmothers, as well as the women of the world as well, because it takes it's the power that we need to understand as we in talking with the grandmothers, because they have always seemed to put it all together, and when they can amaze you with so much. Sure, I have talked with many men. You have a lot of good men too, don't get me wrong. You got a good men, but women, they seem to put it there right in perspective to where that you need. If you go to a grandma, you sit in her kitchen. And I knew this one woman over at Six Nations, and I'm quite sure that most of you, when she was alive, and that you would go to her house, she may have had 7 cards or 8 cards when she would read with her cards. And she was very special, but it's almost like she would just push the crumbs off the table and she would put the put the cards down, and she would tell you so much within 20 minutes that would blow your mind. And I won't call her name because she's on the other side, but she was a very special lady, and she was close to me as well. But there were so many of the grandmas around us, the ones that I like to speak of in the areas of what they had taught me. And some just didn't say anything, but just looked and nodded. And you got the message. You always seem to have gotten the message. Any questions?
I do have, this is a nice message for you. There are a couple of questions here, and I'd love to share them. Can you read that?
Oh, with me? Oh, with the current state of the world, thoughts about moving to. Well, first of all, unfortunately, the person that is sort of running this world right now, or running this part of the world, he doesn't really care too much about us. And now I see that he's going into the areas of Indian affairs, and he's cutting the budgets there. So a lot of problems. This is in the U.S. It's not a good thing what he's doing, but then Spirit says that's going to be changed next year, and there are going to be some things that will be sort of opening up that can give us a little breathing room, we will call it. That would be only the Creator can do. So I'll just leave that there. But the world is going to continue to go. We are going to continue to thrive, because we were, as my mother would say, come here can't be like been here. Come here can't do like been here. We have been here a long time. Some just came here, and they're still trying to find their way. But in time, they have to find it through us. We have the secrets. If they are secrets, and the only secrets would be is of knowledge. Mm-hmm. That's the important thing. And going back into Mother Earth, go back and listen to the elders. The elders, they are the ones that carry the gifts.
Here's another one. On that note, how do Indigenous teachings on the 7 stages or 7 roads of life convey moral, spiritual, and community values across the human lifespan?
And repeat that again.
How do Indigenous teachings on the 7 stages or 7 roads of life convey moral, spiritual, and community values across the human lifespan?
It takes a lifetime to even walk one of these roads. Mm-hmm. But we are here to walk all 7 of these roads. And especially if you are a medicine teacher or a healer in those areas, but we all are walking this road in bringing and understanding who we are, because we're still students. And this is why, as I say, as I your teacher, so you are mine. And so on this road here, we all are on it one way or another, finding our way, or going to see someone, to talk to a group, or just sit and listen to what's being told. That's the important thing, is finding our way and understanding it, and having someone just to sit and to acknowledge who you are. That's the important thing. And you see, my father used to take us one time to the bus stations or the train station, just to sit and watch people, not to stare, to watch people, but not see them staring at them. And then he would walk by and say, okay, what do you feel about that person or that particular person? And we had to come up with a pretty good answer, just learning by seeing people. That was one of the things we had to understand in growing up, to be able to help, to read that person or to feel that person's energy just And even though whether my father was right or wrong, the other person never knew what we were doing, but it was teaching us this, and everything is done in the areas of the teachings. Very important.
Mm.
I hope this makes a little sense, and of what I'm saying or what I've tried to say. But y'all always remember, I'm a student. I'm still a student. I'm still on this road. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I wanted to share this.
I thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Aho.
Yeah.
Y'all
And I
go.
just wanted to share this last one for you. It was a nice story for you. I don't know if you'll be able to come across the platform again, but this is someone that sat with you when she was 14, and she's in her 40s and is grateful. The vision has come true. So,
Thank you. That was so good. That was so good to hear. It's always good. And
mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I guess, Barb, you're on tap.
Well, let me tell you something a little about Barb. Well,
Yes.
first of all, beautiful words, Ted. As always, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence. And sometimes you're just scattering back and forth. It's
Yes.
kind of hard to get a high in there because you're moving back and forth between serving the people and helping the people. But I just want to say, you've helped me in the process, and I've learned so much. Just kind of being in your presence, but also just humbled by, how much you work for the people. And you've helped so many people along your path. And so, lots of gratitude for the work that you do, because it's very, very important. And I'm really glad that you stepped up and to the plate and took your role. And, you're still doing something that you love.
Thank you.
And yeah, and
thank
Nikolai,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
I just wanted to make one statement that we all so busy afraid of bad medicine, but there's a lot of good medicine out there. And I remember, I think it was Twala Niche to say that sometimes it takes bad medicine to make good medicine, because then you know not to do it again.
So true, Ted. So true. Yes. And Nikolai, I was waiting for, I don't know, maybe more. So I really will look at your bios, in order to know a little bit about you, because this is the first time that I've been introduced to you. And I look forward to finding, the treasures that you do with your work. And and now I get to introduce, of course, Barb and Jody. I mean, Jody and Susan. Our history goes way back now, and it's always so precious to have all of this beautiful love energy all on one screen. So, thank you for that. And Barb, we've had the pleasure of knowing each other for many, 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 many years. And it came at a time, we met at a time when it was really important to meet. There was a lot of work, hard work that was done and shared, and our visions helped us to move forward. So it was really a wonderful experience to, spend that valuable time with you when it was most important. So I've known Barb for many, many, many years. She's from our neighboring community, Tyendinaga, Sego, Sewakwego, Katine, Nyongits, and I'm from Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, Mohawk Bear Clan. So it's like tonight is full of all of that ancestral Haudenosaunee love, and so we're moving that forward in a good way. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Barbara as I would call her a visionary, but more so a compassionate soul who works directly from spirit, And, she's a force to be reckoned with because she gets things done. And that's what I love about Barb. So without taking up too much time, Barb, it's your time.
Good evening, everybody. I like that it's your time. I was hoping that Ted would keep talking and then maybe I could just do a little bit of a wrap up. I have had the pleasure of listening to Grandfather Ted Silverhand since 2010. And through him, I have met Tall Pine. And Sun Bear, Matt Bear, and Rolling Thunder. I wasn't privy to the electronical part of what this is. I learned by doing, and I learned by being in their presence. Gail spoke. Yes, we've known each other a long time, and it's always good to have the years of trust behind us, knowing we have work to do. You have work to do. I have work to do. And we'll meet down on the road, down on the path later on. So, Grandmother Gail Whitlow, it's an honor and a pleasure to meet you again. I'm sitting here this evening with my teachers. I'm sitting here this evening with my family. And sometimes time goes by and we don't have those opportunities to be in the physical as often as we would like to. I would like to honor Grandfather Ted Silverhand as well on the loss of our friend Brenda Silverhand. I would also like to honor Susan on the loss of her friend. So my friend gave this to me and I put it on late this afternoon because I was starting to go and I thought, can't go too far yet. The people are here and they're going to be here. So I put this on so it would assist me to stay grounded. And it's doing its job. And I'm grateful for that. I would also like to acknowledge the people from Quebec, primarily the Gatineau area and Ottawa. When I was learning, I didn't know what I was learning. I just was learning. And I enjoyed spending time with a specific grandmother at Six Nations of the Grand River. We were friends. And speak about being humble. You would not have known the things about her that she kept deep in her heart so that she could complete her work. Grandmother was the co-chair for the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I was privy to that. When I was summoned to Six Nations, we started a process. And it was a very sacred process. And I was told very strictly by this grandmother, no one is to know. You don't say a word to anyone. Though that was the first part of it. And then I was told, and you can't take any notes when we are together. So I agreed to that. And when I told my mother I was going to Six Nations to learn from a grandmother, and she said to me, I am proud. When I was a little girl growing up in this house, my mother always spoke of a group of people that are out there. These people are the protectors for our people. And I always thought that was so beautiful to know that there's people out there that oversee and care for us. During a time of great oppression, during a time when we could not speak our languages, there was a lot of language speaking in this house I sit in. But when we went through the door, there could be no more speaking. So I'm grateful for being in that environment growing up with my biological mother, my biological grandmother, and then the grandmothers that came after that. There has been a lot of grief happening. And the reason I have this is because I'm moving a lot of it. And what that means is, I don't even know what it means, but I get very hot. And so bear with me as I sail the ethers. I knew when this group gathered, I knew that there would be peace. And maybe that's what I'm looking for in a roundabout way. When I was learning, my grandmother said to me, Barbie, I want you to do the talking. So I did not know what was being said. So I listened. And what came out was, maybe I should come and learn more. Maybe I should come and learn what I'm going to be talking about. And grandmother Gadetso said to me, oh, Barbie, no, it doesn't work that way. So here I am. But more importantly than me being here, here we are. And there's great love in this moment. There's trust. There's friendship. And there is the seeking of something within ourselves by far greater than we could ever know. I honor the ancestors that started to pile into my mother's home here. And sometimes it's very difficult to find that clarity because it's been so long and they all have something to say. They all have something to speak. I just trust that I will do them favor. in speaking to you. So this is not a new thing we're doing. Our communities have been doing this a very long time. And at this time when there's been so much uncertainty, there's been so much shaking, the grandmas are reminding us that even though these things are on our back doorstep, we do not bat an eye. We keep going forward. So Grandfather Ted talked about ceremonies and things like that. That's a very important part of what this is. And whatever this is, it's real. Whatever this is, it is truth. And truth is a higher vibration than unconditional love even. So by trying to speak their truth, I am the physical manifestation of what is meant for someone to hear. And I am grateful. As Grandfather talked, it's a long road. As Grandfather talked, you will meet different ones. As Grandfather stated, be as sure as you can be that the one that you have met is the one. Because sometimes we are tested. I can hear the silence. And I used to be like that too when I was listening to them. And sometimes when someone is grieving, you sit beside them and you just be silent. This is what my grandmother did for me when I was at Six Nations of the Grand River Territory. And my other brother was here and he suddenly went. We were doing ceremony too, and I knew the teaching. The ceremony first, and it all trickles down. And it affects all our communities. So I assisted Grandmother Gadatsu. And we ceremonied. And then she said, now Barbie, I want you to go home now. And that is what I did. We are very blessed to be here together in this time that's been created for us to link through the box and to link through the heart. And I've been practicing myself lately too to open this heart. Grandfather Tom Porter assisted me greatly in the new heart. So My placement is in Ottawa, Canada, and I am sent in to navigate the colonialism of a history, and I'm there to support. And I'll tell you, it's been a long time. And what has made it a long time was that COVID and all that, to be with our spiritual family. And sometimes you can feel isolated and all alone. But to always remember, we're never alone. So I was pondering about all this grief that's happening. And I was thinking it was getting to the point, there were so many, I didn't know where to go. I was running out of, sometimes there would be 2 and 3 at the same time. And so there was a busyness. And then one of the other grandmothers in my community here, she had a vision. And I went to see her, and she pulled me in really fast through the door. And she said, I knew you were coming. And she told me about her vision. And so I recommended, if she wanted to talk more about it, I could bring my friend and we could have him take a look. So Grandfather Ted Silverhand came to our community and we were able to do the visit. And when the grandmother and the grandfather met, it was like they knew each other and had known each other for a long time. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, the Haudenosaunee people were here. The Confederacy came in and it was put out those words of condolence from the lands of the Peacemaker here. And in my lifetime, I have never known the full Confederacy to come and to do their sacred work. So I'm grateful that I got to see it. I'm grateful that I got to hear it. I'm grateful that what I belong to, those protectors, came to Peacelands. I believe in them. And that goes back to my mother and my grandfather. That also goes back to them. It's in the remembering. It's in the trust. And it's in the asking. So when we launched human trafficking in the city of Toronto under Minister Ralph Goodale, I was asked to go and to assist. So I went there. And as we were opening to do the work, there was one that wasn't kind of forming when we were doing the call-in, and he was kind of going that way a lot. And he was kind of a happy, easy-go-lucky bear. And he was doing a lot of dancing. And I thought, jeepers, I can hold you for a while, but I have to send you back, and don't go too far because, I might not be able to find you. So after that happened, I explained to Grandfather Ted Silverhand the meeting and the calling and what had happened. And I said, I've never met him before. But he was joyful. And Grandfather Ted said, "Oh, Barb, that was Sun Bear." And I said, "Well, I never knew a Sun Bear." He said, "Barb, think about it. Who was Grandmother Sarah Smith's teacher? Sun Bear." And then when Rolling Thunder came into my life a few times, it was the same. Grandfather Ted said, "Barb, think about it. Who was my teacher? Who was I a helper to?" And my reply was, Rolling Thunder. So I owe a great gratitude to my teachers. I owe a great gratitude to the ancestors. I can never repay what you have given to me. I can only do my part in how it is to be used with the people. So it feels like I've been talking for 2 hours, and I don't know. I hope it hasn't been that long. But we have our elders, we have our teachers, we have our grandmothers, we have our grandfathers. Spend time with them. Spend time with us, and you will see. So we are doing our best, all of us, tonight, to hold space for the one another's, the each other's. And when I lit the medicine, I heard, "Barbie, I'm here." And when I heard that, I knew who it was. She's the one that taught me to develop that relationship with the medicine and to listen. And over time, we can communicate. So that's been what I've been doing. So I guess the important thing to relay the message is the full condolence has been done here at Peacelands to give those special ones tribute and honor. Hiawatha and the Peacemaker. And there's only one way to do it. And that gift is given to our men of the Confederacy. And as matriarchs, and there's a few here in the immediate hosting team, as matriarchs, we're doing our part of what's needed to be done, to put our men forward, to put our teachers forward, and to hold them up when they might be having trouble standing. It's a sacred duty and a sacred responsibility. And for that, we are grateful. So I trust it will be of comfort to you what has the hearing about what has happened here at Peacelands, and that you will be comforted in knowing something's been done. And as we start to assist in the movement of that peace out from the nucleus here at Tyendinaga, it's not just for the Haudenosaunee communities. It is for all nations, all people. That sacred tree, those white roots spreading out the four directions. So the work has been done, and it's been an honor of my lifetime to see it. It's been an honor of my lifetime to assist in bringing it home. I asked a question to Grandfather Tom Porter, and I said, Tommy, he looked at me, and I said, how come the recital of the Great Law of Peace has never come to Tyendinaga? And in his little way, you know what he's like? There would be an earthquake. And it did come to Tyendinaga, but the earthquake happened in another country on the outskirts. So maybe in some ways he was right. So the peace law lives, it's real, and it's truth. And when I go to travel into Ottawa, into those meetings, and some of those meetings are very high in energy and frequency, I hold space. I hold the peace. And sometimes too, like I'll be there and all the business corporate people and all those are getting everything out, their tablets, their phones, their computers, the screens, and they're all linking in, and then there's helpers bringing the notes in and things like that. And I just sit there with my feather and I wait. And I'm thinking, jeepers, I don't got no notes. I don't have no fancy technology, computers, etc. And then I remember what my grandmother said to me. Oh, Barbie, it doesn't work that way. Listen. So that's what I do. And it's been a decade now, one full cycle. And we have medicine people up and coming. We have people carrying their bundles. We have people healing. And we have people growing. And we have people creativeness, asserting themselves. We are effectively changing colonialism. Each and every one of them that have been working so hard to become. Chief Orville Looking Horse said, in the seeking, remember the joy. And you cannot have one without the other. So in the In the grief, we are honoring the joy. And in the joy, we are honoring the grief. And we are keeping that sacred balance. So I'm going to start to wrap up now. I'll probably have a little bit of work to do once we close on the video, but that's okay. The grandmothers work hard, and the grandmothers are not afraid of work. So that's it. Be it so. I trust there was something meant for you that you heard that maybe is giving you thought or perhaps validation to something you already have heard before. The grandmother Twilanish, yeah, she was a good friend of grandmother Sarah Smith. Also too, grandmother Jan Longboat. These are the ones that have trusted me, and they are the ones that I work for in so many different ways. Why? Because I love them. Why? Because we gotta put this into the future, and it's gonna take each and every one of us plus. So when I see tall pine behind grandfather Ted Silverhand, I see a powerful man. And sometimes I don't know who I'm talking to, Ted Silverhand, grandfather, or grandfather Tall Pine. They come and go, they come and go, they come and go. And but I'm learning. I'm learning to differentiate between which one is really speaking to me. And that is an honor. So, to my Six Nations family, Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, thank you for keeping that river company. And to South, keep doing what you're doing, Grandmother Susan. Because there's more coming.
Yes.
And we got to help them. So that's it. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that Ted would carry it a little longer, then I wouldn't have to speak so much. Did I talk a lot? Or what time is it? Okay. All right. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you. You were just perfect. My dear sister, grandmother, elder Barb, who now I know so much better for having heard the words that you've shared tonight and felt your heart and heard the wisdom coming forth and all the names that you brought through who've been your teachers like Sarah Smith and Twilanish and everyone else, and Ted, my beloved Ted, the same thing. I mean, if I could just, when I get these recordings, I'm going to just make a list of everybody that you brought into this room with us tonight, both of you. And Nico, how grateful I am for that young elder in making that you are, that you're sitting here with us and bringing in that beautiful energy. And my beloved sister Gail, we've been together for all these years. When I had the vision in 2021 to start the Wind Voices, which was the oral history collection during COVID, Ted popped into my mind from the very beginning, and he spoke in that. And we have those as a collective. and people like our beloved grandmother, Elizabeth Babin from Ogoshik, who gave us the teachings of the Star Lodge. And then she moved into the next world, into the spirit world. We have several that we captured their teachings and they've moved on. This is what it's all about. This is truly what it is. It's so important that we have that quality to be able to record everything that you've said and shared tonight for the next generations. And I am so absolutely grateful. When this vision came into my mind about doing these 52 weeks, I knew how important it is, because it's like the waves that come across the ocean. They're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming. And just when we think that things are going to be nice and mellow, they're going to move on again. And we're going to get another wave. And you're right, Barbara. We need to be ready. We need to be moving with that. We need to be up on the top of the water so that we can share what it is that's there for everyone. I'm so grateful. So after we end tonight, everyone go back and look at the things that were there that were said, the comments that were made, the questions that were asked, because you have people who are truly committed to hearing, and then they go outward, because we've created this venue in a way that it can be given out to everyone. There's no price to pay. There's no challenge to being able to access it. We can get it through YouTube or Facebook or whatever, because we need to hear you guys. We need to hear the things that you're sharing. And as you spoke, my beautiful Barbara, I realized how strong your heart is, the sensitivity that you shared with us tonight, and the humility. And the same thing with you, my dear Ted. It's the same thing. And if we were caught up in ego, we would not be able to bring forward the things that were gifted to us by our elders. So I thank you for that. We do not close. We don't end, because there is no end. The next wave will be coming along. We've got probably 20 weeks worth already set up of our next speakers, where we've got them lined up through September into October, and more are coming. And they're coming from New Zealand, they're coming from Australia, they're coming from Europe, they're coming from different tribes in South America, they're coming from all over. And you guys, everyone, every time you speak and share, it adds and builds that momentum to help us to navigate through this time ahead of us. So thank you, everyone. And there is, like I said, there's no end. We don't close. So now we'll turn it over to Jody, and she has a couple more things to say. But remember, this is available for you to take and share outward. Everyone that's watching, everyone that's speaking. And I'm just really, truly grateful to be able to be here tonight with you all. Aloha ke akua kuleana.
Nyawa.
Yeah.
Wow. If you, Ted, have anything that you'd like to share before I close as well? I know sometimes messages come up. We'll keep it short and sweet, but I'd love for you to.
I was happy that Tall Pine, who's directly behind me, was honored, and there's so many of the ones that's on the other side that still work through all of us at one time or another. We sniff a bit of tobacco in areas of little tobacco here burned here or there, or someone that has come through because they like to come through. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Nyawa.
Yeah.
Grandma Gail, you're all good. I just wanted to give that offering. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. This is it's an honor to be in this circle. This is something that it was a dream of my own, and met Grandmother Gail and Grandmother Renee Thomas Hill, and learned where I came from, learned where my great grandmother was from, where my lineage is. The roots led me home, and so I'm honored. Nyawa, so much. Grandma Susan, several years ago, you shared this vision with me, and for some reason we weren't ready. and this is the reason. And so it truly is an honor to be here. So, and to our honored grandmothers and grandfathers, the elders, the teachers, the ancestors who shared their voices with us tonight. What was spoken here lives beyond this moment. These teachings ripple forward. They awaken something ancient in us, something that remembers who we are and why we're here. The circle remains open, the fire is still burning, and we carry it now with humility, with courage, and with love. So we invite you, tend the fire in your own heart. Listen for the voices of your elders and the ancestors who surround us. Walk with the ancestors, speak truth, be gentle, and return here when the time calls again. You can revisit these teachings and follow the 52-week journey on Grandmother's Voice, our YouTube channel. We have a gathering that's happening in September, Saturday, September 20th, the day before World Peace Day. That will be happening in Oakville. You can see that event on our Facebook page. And until next time, may your path be lit by the wisdom of the grandmothers and grandfathers. And may you never forget you're a part of this story too. Yawa.
Haudenosaunee.